Rachel Fletcher. I am the president of the National Upholstery Association, and I'm just going to jump right into this. So the National Upholstery Association started out really as a think tank back in 2018, created by our board member, Cynthia Bleskacek of the Funky Little Chair. She had the vision to gather a small group of professionals active in the trade to discuss the current state of the trade and its future. It's from there the NUA was conceived. The NUA was born less than a year later in March of 2019, and we sent out essentially birth announcements shortly after to attend our July 1st opening when we opened up membership. Since July, and in just a short 8 months, we have over 200 members, maybe a little bit more, who believe in what the NUA is doing and plans to do. And I want to say thank you to each and every one of you who were there, who were the early adopters. You really put your trust in us. And I also want to thank each and every one of you who is here today because you are here to learn more, and we absolutely cannot do this without you. So the strategic plan I'm showing you today took a lot of time, so much time. And just like everything else, it's been hard, but it has been fruitful. With so many board members with differing ideas and so many NUA members also with differing ideas and needs, it was apparent that we needed a direction. And to assist us, we chose our guiding principles. So we polled the community, we organized ideas, we scrapped ideas, we came up with more ideas, we nixed those ideas, we drilled down, and then we settled on our top 7 goals that we plan to tackle in the next 3 years. So our 7 goals, number 1, establish a foundation. Done. In order to do this, we had to set up an organizational structure. Establish communication channels to be used within the board. This has probably been one of our biggest hurdles. Not gonna lie. Establish active communication channels between the board and our membership. Things like the newsletter, blog, webinars, social media, surveys. Schedule board participation and coaching for nonprofits. I think we're really lucky. We have an Alliance for Better Nonprofits. They are local here to me in Knoxville, Tennessee, and they have been a wealth of information. They're also setting me up with a personal nonprofit coach that I will meet with monthly, and I can call her up at any time. This will really help me to serve not only our board members better and our volunteers better, but you as well. And finally, establish a protocol for financial management. Goal number 2, developing a framework for growth of skills training. Goal number 3, establish a flexible framework of business resources. So connecting our members through resources such as monthly webinars, connecting members to vendor information and resources, and establishing a library. Researching options for health and liability group insurance for our members. Goal number 4, supporting networking events and opportunities for our members. These would be things like the Custom Workroom Conference that's coming up in October. We have an event planned the day before. It's going to be a very exciting event. I can't wait for it. Promoting training opportunities, exploring the value of local and regional chapters. Goal number 5 is building a resource library of industry standards. Goal number 6, establish and implement a public outreach policy to build awareness of the trade and for those of us who work in it. Commercials, PSAs, merchandise. I love the merchandise idea. Creating marketing materials that members can access and use on your channels. A central guide of shops that the public can go to and use as a resource. Member spotlights. And again, that glossary of upholstery terms. Consumer tips and guides. Goal number 7, evaluate potential role for the industry in sustainability initiatives. So advocating, promoting inclusion within tax incentive programs, and promoting reupholstery as an intrinsic component of the circular economy. So that's our strategic plan. I want to thank publicly the board members and our volunteers. They all have full-time jobs and they all work and or volunteer within varying communities. I don't think that any of us, those of us on the board and our volunteers, truly knew the time needed to not only establish a foundation, but to keep it moving on the tracks and without derailment. Each person on this board is truly dedicated to making the trade better. That also goes for our volunteers. Absolutely every one of their intentions and their will is absolutely amazing. So I want to say thank you to everyone. You're doing a wonderful job to help the trade as a whole. And that being said, we need more volunteers, support, and feedback from individual shops, individual upholsterers, mills, and suppliers. If anything in this strategic plan has conjured up an idea in you, we would love to chat with you after the webinar at length. You can always find us on our website, nationalupholsteryassociation.org. You can find us on Instagram, Facebook, and LinkedIn. You can also always email us info@nationalupholsteryassociation.org. And if you know any of our social media channels, go ahead, feel free to drop us a line there. Audrey?
Thank you, Rachel. I'm going to go ahead and invite the board members that are here today to unmute or, start their videos so that their faces come up on the screen. There we go. And Rachel can stop sharing her screen, I think.
I have to figure out how to do that.
Okay. All righty, fantastic. Today we have with us members of our board of directors, and I'll just do a quick introduction of those folks. We've got Carla Pyle here today from Natural Upholstery out in Montana, Cynthia Blaskacek from the Funky Little Chair in Minneapolis, Minnesota. We've got Michelle Minner from Mimi's Blue Roof Cabin and out in Washington. Kim Newell from Kim's Upholstery. We've got Terry Nolenberg that is joining us from the Midwest as well. And my name is Audrey Lonsway, and I'm coming to you today from New Hampshire. So if we have questions or anything that anybody wants to discuss, please go ahead and write a question down in the Q&A section at the bottom of your screen. And we've been checking the chat feature as well. Or if you have anything that you want to say that can go in the Q&A also. Each of us is ready for questions. It'll take just a moment. There is one question in the Q&A at the moment about their decal. She's saying that we have our decal, and Susan's wondering if there's going to be an 8.5 by 11 certificate of membership suitable for hanging in her shop for customers to see. I don't know that we have a plan for that other than Rachel mentioned merchandising options in the future. There's not currently a certificate, but there is the card that you can print out and then the decal that you've received.
I have to say though, I love the idea of a possible certificate. I think that's something we could possibly put into committee, maybe.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, we discussed something like that at the board meeting yesterday, and it seemed like we had some plans in the works.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that sounds good.
I'm gonna write that down.
Yeah. We have a question from Brad asking if there are any auto, marine, aviation professionals on the board.
No, we're looking for one. Do you want to join us?
That's right. That's right. We've seen, I know the Hog Ring advertised our strategic plan webinar today, and we have some phone calls in to other folks outside of the just purely furniture. So yeah, we are open for help and suggestion on that area. Sounds great.
Approach us.
That's right. Thank you, Brad. We have a question from someone. How do you join a committee once you're a member? Which is a great question. On our website, Michelle can go ahead. Michelle can speak to that.
I was going to say, you can definitely email us at info@nationalupholsteryassociation.org, or go to the website. When you log into the member, as a member, there's a tab that says volunteers. So you can go there and just send us a message. It has a couple questions asking what kind of help you'd like to offer, what kind of committee. And then basically we just go from there and just put you in touch with that committee chair. And we want you to help in whichever way that you would like to help. So you let us know.
Yep. Yeah, and as of last night, that tab was moved to outside the member area. So anyone that is interested in volunteering can click on that link at nationalupholsteryassociation.org. Click on the volunteer link and fill out the form that is there. If you're going to be a standing member on a committee, we ask that you be a member, of course, of the association. Currently, right now, we have several committees. We have the PR committee and the membership committee. We have plans in place for the professional development committee and the networking committee, events committee.
Webinar committee.
Yes, and the webinar committee.
And we need a finance committee.
That's right. We're working to find folks that are interested in helping with the finance. Is there anything else that any of the board members would like to mention about the committees?
I'd like to just speak to the communication piece that we've been working on to try to get, and that was one of the big challenges, as Rachel mentioned. It was trying to get, like, we're starting from square one with this, we're trying to build the foundation so that things can run smoothly and everybody can get up and running once you, find some place that you'd like to volunteer your talents. So that's looking pretty good right now. We've got a few platforms that we're using, and we're going to have add some things to the website that will help you, sort of a volunteer toolkit that you can refer to learn about the committees, have descriptions of all the committees and all the board member positions and stuff like that. So I know that's a question that people ask a lot, and we're working on that. We're going to have that up and running in the next couple of months. So in the meantime, just talk to any one of us and we can help you with that.
Great. Thank you, Carla. Any other thoughts about committees? Yeah, I think Cynthia has had a thought.
Yeah, so if you're looking at the strategic plan, one of the things that, goal 2, looking at some of that professional development and some of the overarching issues of education and training being largely unavailable to a lot of our aspiring professionals and our workrooms that are trying to hire people. We have outlined a really, what I think is a very solid and important committee. If we look at the purpose of a national association, these would really be, I think, some of those benefits that are maybe longer payoff, but really what we'd look for a nonprofit association to do for us as professionals. And that is a committee that is currently looking for a chair. We have reached out individually to a few people that we know are perhaps directly invested in seeing better tools at the training level, at the workroom level. But if that is something that you're interested in, I am a person too who has volunteered to be on that committee, but we're looking for someone with the bandwidth and interest to perhaps oversee that, or more organized person than myself. But if you have any questions about that set of goals, I'm happy to also speak to those while we're here today. But yeah.
Great. Yeah, for the Professional Development Committee. Fantastic. We have another question about what the current member count is.
I'm looking at it right now. It is 198.
198. There's a few people that started the application process and haven't finalized it. So there's a couple more in the that look like they're going to join very soon. But
10
folks that haven't finished their application. So 198 is our current member count. And I know that our membership committee is looking to start a membership drive, and that will be exciting for some of the events we have coming down the road to celebrate our first anniversary on July 1st.
And I have to say, I'm pretty proud of that number, you know, to just get like just under 200 members in 6-7 months, you know, is pretty amazing for a fledgling nonprofit. So I'm really excited about that number, and we're just going to continue to grow.
And that includes all of our levels of membership, which are currently, we have a student level of membership. So if you're learning or aspiring to be a professional upholsterer, that is a great level of membership for you. We have our professional level of membership. That is for your professional upholsterers, the folks that own their shops or work in the shop, or that sort of that level of membership. We have retirees, so folks that are retired from the industry but are still, you know, they still want to help and they still want to participate, and we're thankful for them. We have our educators level of membership, and that is for anyone that teaches upholstery. That can be in vocational schools, that can be just your private business, any of those types of folks. I know we have a few educators that help with educating our industry, and that's very exciting. And then we have our industry partners, and that's going to be folks that are, you know, vendors and fabric suppliers and suppliers. That's not a good way to phrase that. But each of our industry or vendor members and our educators have their own dedicated page on our website that that highlight their newest, you know, their news that's coming up, the classes that are coming up, and that sort of thing. So be sure to check out their information. The directory on our webpage highlights each of our members, and is a great way for anyone looking for a professional upholsterer in their area to in order to find a professional upholsterer. All righty, we have a question about if there's any information about the NUA event at CWC. And that's a great question. We have plans in the works, and does anybody, but I don't know when we can make our official announcement on that. Anybody have any anything you'd like to say with that?
I think we should probably wait on that announcement. But I do have to say that we've got a pretty huge celebrity upholsterer that's going to be coming in, and we have something else in the plan too. So it's going to be a very fun event. It's going to be a very full day. So I'm excited to see everyone show up and get their money's worth.
Yeah, we'll be taking the show on the road as well. So I'm sorry to be mysterious with that, but we'll make a full announcement when we have our.
It's good to be mysterious.
We have a question from someone asking if there's ever been an upholstery association before. And Rachel, do you want to? Yes, I think is the answer, but it's been a long time.
Yeah, it was wasn't it like the upholsterers guild or the masters, the upholstery masters guild, something like that. I think it was Cynthia, didn't you say that it ended like in the 70s, or did it start in the 70s? Was it
Around in the 70s.
And to be honest, like, I mean, I've heard rumors and rumblings of it. I've never really seen anything. Oh, there we go. So Lewis has weighed in. Is that information is as good as anything I have.
That's it. National Guild of Master Upholsterers.
I think it's maybe fair to say it's been a while. Yeah.
Yeah, thanks, Lewis. National Guild of Masters.
And that maybe, you know, if I can weigh into that, because I don't know anything specifically about that guild, but kind of the, you know, the absence of a national association, or, you know, inability to connect with that when we had it. We do have a state association in Minnesota, but I think all that sort of maybe speaks to some of the challenges of creating, sustaining, and building an association in a way that really finds and serves its members effectively. But hopefully that's something that we can do, because it would help us all do what we do better, right?
Yeah, and just a shout out, Lewis, I owe you an email. I will get that email out to you in the next couple of days.
All right, it's being recorded, Lewis, so she's on the record.
I'm on the record.
I was just going to say, like, speak to the membership issue, question, you know, subject. That if there's anyone watching this who has any questions about any of the membership levels or anything else about membership, just feel free to contact us through any of the channels, like the Facebook, or, you know, any of the social media. The info@nationalupholsteryassociation.com would be probably the most direct way, but also, I mean, it's nice to post in social media, because other people may have the same question. So I encourage that.
Great, thanks, Carla. We have a question here that asks, can I still be a member if my shop is closed and I've moved my craft home? Yes.
Girl.
Yes is the easy answer. Yeah, actually, Michelle, do you wanna just unmute yourself for a second?
I was just saying that's me. I had a shop in a retail location in town, and I work out of my detached garage now, so I work from home. So definitely.
Yep. And Lewis shared some additional information that the National Association of Professional Upholsterers and NGMP were both in the 1980s.
Ah.
So it's been a while. Thanks for the information, Lewis. While we wait for any additional questions, I want to take a moment and I want to publicly say a thank you to our president, Rachel Fletcher, for the presentation today and for her leadership throughout this process, and through each of the board meetings and all of the associated tasks that are going on. It feels like there's a lot of plates spinning in the air all at the same time, and she is doing a great job keeping all the plates spinning and helping put the right people in the right place to help get the job done. So thank you, Rachel.
Thank you.
And I'm going to see if there's any more questions. Not seeing any more at this time. I'm going to check over in the chat area. I'm going to open it up if any of our board members have anything that they'd like to say. I do see another question. We'll get to that one in just a second. Is there anything that any of our board members want to?
I do. I'd like to say a word about the sustainability initiative goal. That's kind of a pet goal of mine, and I am really excited about the possibilities and like the potential of this association to advance upholstery into the changing economy. And if you're not familiar or you've never heard of the term circular economy, look it up, and especially like the Ellen MacArthur Foundation has a great little educational, easy to follow. They have like a short video. I actually posted that on my Facebook page, which is livinghomefurniture-naturalupholstery.com. It's a long one, but it's a really, really important issue. Like, you know, it's a really important sort of concept, and it seems to me like it's becoming a movement. So I really encourage people to check that out and get to know it. And if you have any thoughts on how if you'd like to contribute to what we're doing in that realm, just give us a shout.
Great. Thanks, Carla. Any of our other board members? Yes, Cynthia, you have.
Yeah, can I maybe just hop on top of that to add, you know what one thing I love about what Carla's talking about is that one of the challenges right now with an association and with professional upholstery in general is sort of critical mass, that we don't necessarily have the robust numbers that we once did, but we do fit into a lot of other movements and areas of the economy, and sustainability is one that we're a very natural fit for, and there are very exciting things going on there. So this association looking at other places where we can perhaps, you know, partner with, join in on some other movements that are happening where we should be present and active. So.
Great. Any other thoughts at the moment? We have a few more questions. Rhonda has a question about, can we share information about the industry standards library that is in the works? And that is something that I can speak to. We're looking at putting together a glossary of terms and how hold on, I have notes here, so I'm pulling them over while I'm talking. So, and trying to figure out how best to get that out to the industry, if that's going to be, you know, a web page, book, PDF, we're not sure, but getting those basics out there, and also looking at the differences between regions and that sort of thing. Also, that is part of our goal number 5 that we're looking at. I don't know if that fully answered your question, but
I can maybe say,
go ahead, Carla.
In terms of the timeline, we assigned some maybe rather random timelines to some of these, just so that we could get them on the books and try to figure out what committees can handle as far as workload and all that. The glossary of terms has a due date of September of this year, just to at least have it up on the website. And I think that's a really fun one, because it's just, I don't know, for me, it's something we really need, you know, because there's different terms for the same thing in different regions. And if anybody has anything to add to a glossary of terms, I think, you know, there are books that maybe we can ask the authors if they would mind if we shared their terms. I know I have one in mind. I can't remember the name, but The other objective is the standards for the profession, which I think we put that out into like early next year to get that going, and hopefully, you know, we'll get some additional committee members working on that.
I know it is not part of our goal at this time to provide a certification process, but to look at professional standards for upholstery with suggestions. We have another question that Carrie is asking for our application. It asks for a federal state ID and does a social security number work. And yeah, however you identify yourself for the purposes of reporting your taxes and that sort of thing, then that works. So either of those. Glenn has a question. Hi, Glenn. Is there a disconnection of the upholstery trade from the EDD? Has that been approached or looked into? Trying to think what EDD stands for.
I don't know what the EDD stands for.
That's all right. If Glenn is still out there, hopefully you can. I'm assuming it has something to do with the education community and vocational schools, maybe. I'll let Glenn write a little secondary there. We'll go on to Brad's question and we'll come back to Glenn, okay? For Brad, he asked, what is the direction the organization is planning to head on the sustainability front? Will there be any similarities to LEED or gold certification in the architectural industry? How would that be approached on a small business level, as most trim shops are smaller staffs? So I don't know if Carla can speak to this. I do know we have the webinar coming up next month is with Patty Grossman from Two Sisters Textiles, and she is going to speak to the GOTS standard. And there's some information about that webinar on our website on the calendar, and you can take a look at that standard and certification that she and colleagues helped develop. So, Carla, do you have anything additional to add?
Yeah, I do, and I think that's a really good question. It's something that we should put into that as part of that goal, looking into the whole, how can the upholstery community or the National Upholstery Association promote the inclusion of upholstery, certain upholstery practices, or I know this is something that I really have been meaning to research, so that maybe I can write a blog post or something for the website once I get to that. But that's an excellent question. Thank you, Brad.
Great.
And he says that it's EDD is the Employment Development Department, which actually I Googled it, and it provides a variety of services to businesses, workers, and job seekers. And you can look it up on Wikipedia, apparently. But that's
great. Yeah, and there is, yeah, so he addresses the disconnect between the upholstery trade and that kind of training. And has that been approached or looked into? And I'd say yes. And Cynthia, I think that you'd be a good person to.
Yeah, and hi, Glenn. It's so good to see you here. I think what I would say to that is, like, really upholstery is disconnected from many things that it should be connected to, and certainly some of those larger frameworks for training, trades training, or business development. All those things are on our radar. It does not mean that there's been a lot of pursuit into those solutions yet, because I think that comes down to it being moved into a committee and given bodies and hours to pursue that. And this has been certainly a year of setting up the framework for the association so that it can work smarter, not harder. But looking at some of those places where really, instead of perhaps upholstery needing to reinvent everything for ourselves, like, should we be connected to some of these larger conversations? And if you ask me, I mean, the answer is wholeheartedly yes. And we'd love to see you on that professional development committee to talk about answers exactly like this. So thank you for bringing that EDD. That was not actually a term that was specifically familiar to me, but certainly looking at why upholstery is not represented in some of those larger conversations regarding trades training and replacing skilled workforces, as we're not the only ones who are seeing that shortage. So we'd love to see the association be present in more of those conversations and seeing what we can do to bring upholstery to those relevant tables.
Yeah, great. Thanks, Cynthia. I don't have any more questions in our Q&A box at the moment. We'll check over at the chat. If there's anything else any of our board members wanted to talk about or get into?
Kim, did you have anything to say about the election, the upcoming election?
Oh, yes. We are having our first election of directors, and you will read the information about that in our first newsletter in April. And we have 3 director spots to fill. So think about how you can participate and volunteer, and how you might want to contribute. So look for that newsletter.
Great, thank you, Kim.
Or I was going to say, if you are interested, just email us right now. Don't wait for the newsletter, right?
That's right. That's right. Thank you, Michelle. And thanks to Michelle, actually, while she's just talked, I was thinking about her, and she's chairing the PR committee right now as well. And those folks are really doing great things to get the word out about the NUA, and with some fantastic blog posts and all the information leading up to today's webinar on Instagram and Facebook, and it's just been fantastic. Thank you, Michelle.
It's been fun. And also we are looking for articles, blogs from members if they have something interesting, educational to offer. We have a few in the works right now, and we are actually talking with an auto trimmer who's working on an article for us. And one of the things that we talked about is that we do need that that perspective, and so the auto trimmers and the marine, that kind of thing. So we are looking to add that. We're not just furniture upholstery, it's all upholstery. So you know, we do need those volunteers too. So, and if you are interested in an article, you can email me. My email's michelle@blueroofcabin.com, or you can email info@naturalupholsteryassociation.org. So.
Great, thank you, Michelle. There's a message over in the chat feature, and they are looking forward to joining at the student membership level, and looks like they're starting their journey into upholstery. which is just fantastic. Yeah, the student membership provides access to the webinars that we have going on, and everything that's available in the members resource area as well. All right, well, we don't have any more questions for today. So if there's anything in closing anyone needed to talk about, last chance. One last question about how long can they remain at the student level? And, you know, it's one of those things, upholstery is a lifelong learning process, but we ask for a maximum of 2 years at the student level. And if you have formed your business, then to go ahead and join at the professional level, please.
I just thought of one more thing.
Yeah, go ahead.
Your student just brought up something. We do have an educators list on our website and a vendors list. So for a student, that'd be perfect for you to find some education and some great vendors. And you can search by your region and see what products they offer, that kind of thing. And then we also have the calendar, and this is for everybody too, but we have the calendar on there with events that are coming up. So make sure you check that out.
That's right. Yeah, we're looking at doing some in-person meetups, perhaps not with the coronavirus going on. We're gonna try to get that.
The elbow, you know.
Yeah, that's right. Stand across the room.
We could do Zoom meetups.
That's right, we can do Zoom meetups. Is there any group buy capabilities that come with membership? Is one other final questions. A group buy capability.
Not yet, right? But we're working on it. I think so much we're working on.
There's so much, yeah. Yeah, I know the membership committee specifically is looking at perks for our membership for with some discounts to with certain vendors and that sort of thing. So they are working on that part. And I'm confident we're gonna have something announced here pretty soon. But again, like the CWC, I can't announce it quite yet. Alrighty, and there was a couple other things. It looks like Glenn was also announcing that the ABC Adult School is looking for upholstery instructors in California. So that's good to know as well. Thanks, Glenn.
Isn't that something that he can also post on his membership area or under his membership on the website so that people can look that up?
Yes, they can. Yeah. He can post it there, and we also have the job and employment section of the website. So if they just want to send us a note real quick, we'll post it in the jobs employment section of the website also. Okay, Glenn says thanks. He'll do that. All righty. Okay, then I think we're doing good then. We've answered questions. You know, let's keep the conversation going for sure. If there's any other questions or thoughts or ideas, all of the members of the board of directors and all the volunteers and the chairs, really, everybody is open for questions and ideas. I'll put out the final call for volunteers. That will be today at least. And it's great. The more people that are getting involved with the NUA, and we like to use the phrase that we are by upholsterers and for upholsterers. And the more upholsterers that we get involved with committees, the more great ideas and methods to accomplish all these wonderful goals that we have, the more that these ideas come to light and we're able to conquer these as an industry together, which is just wonderful, not something that's been readily available. So so I encourage you to get involved with the NUA and to send us a note about how you'd like to be involved. I'd like to thank everyone that has joined us today for today's webinar, and I'd like to thank the Board of Directors for coming and answering questions. And we hope you just have a great continuation of your day. Thank you, everyone.
Thanks.